South Carolina has a sterling record of human rights activity. Penn Center, where Martin Luther King and his lieutenants met and planned. The Progressive Club on Johns Island, where Ben Mack, Septima Clark, Esau Jenkins, Bill Saunders, and others met and taught, come to mind. Today, we celebrate the fine biography of one of South Carolina's sons, Benjamin Elijah Mays, Schoolmaster of the movement, by Dr. Randal Maurice Jelks. Randal M. Jelks, Associate Professor of American Studies and African American Studies at the University of Kansas, has explored an aspect of African American history in African Americans in the Furniture City, the struggle for civil rights in Grand Rapids. In his biography of Benjamin Elijah Mays, he treats the making of history at its core, the band of courageous, unrelenting heroes who made it happen through strength of character, influence, and insight into the significance of their and others' actions. Mays held to his beliefs as he waded through the morass of the hate and social discord of a segregated South and figured out the best way forward to a better time. Incorporating the roles of church, religion, and secular education, Mays undertook the massive task of changing the South and the country. Dr. Jelks places him where he belongs, as a pillar of strength, commitment, and resolute action, so that he may be properly understood and appreciated. The celebration of such a paragon is a work well within the mission of the Lillian Smith Book Awards, and we are delighted to award one of this year's prizes to Dr. Randal Maurice Jelks.
I would like to thank the committee. I thought it was a joke when I was like, really? I saw the illustrious names and I said, really, come on. So I would like to thank the Lillian Smith Award Committee for bestowing this prestigious award on Benjamin Elijah Mays, Schoolmaster of the Movement, a biography. And I would be remiss if I did not thank my press, the University of North Carolina Press, and my editor, who's now retired, David Perry, who recruited this book for believing in the project and promoting it. I'm deeply honored and gratified to receive this award in this city where Mays' bones rest on the campus of Morehouse College. Mays believed that faith and purposefulness and academic achievement and the practice of democracy in all endeavors were essential to living a wise and prosperous life. For 27 years, he eloquently expounded these ideas to young men who attended Morehouse College. And believe me, I have met some of them who are not so young anymore, but who tell me their Mays stories as I walk and travel around the country. The class of 1961, by the way, wanted me to let you know that they were the best class of Morehouse College ever. Students who sat at Mays' feet reads like a who's who of recent American history. I continue to marvel at his determination to escape the confines of his meager existence in Epworth, South Carolina. As the child of ex-slaves and tenant farmers, to rise to an esteemed churchman worldwide and educator internationally. My fellow historian and Mays biographer, Jack Roper, entitled his book, The Magnificent Mays, and indeed, I believe that Benjamin Mays was that and more. I wish to thank my family. My brother and sisters and my 2 nephews are here, but my children and wife are not. But I want to thank my family who endured my research trips, long evenings of writing and rewriting, and constantly talking about a man my children never met, but who now know as a member of the family. And finally, I always want to make these remarks short. I want to thank someone who is now long gone, a mentor, a man by the name of Arthur Hughes. In 1969, I came to Atlanta as a part of a trip of the YMCA, something that Mays had participated in a great deal. Mr. Hughes worked for the Dry Street YMCA in New Orleans and organized 2 busloads of boys to come to Atlanta to the initial gravesite of Martin Luther King, Jr. Hughes never knew that he sparked in my imagination to write and explore the multi-stories of the South's civil rights in American history. So I want to thank Mr. Hughes, who is now long gone, and thank you for this award. Thank you very much.
We have time for just a few questions, if anybody has any questions.
I believe that Dr. Benjamin Mays delivered the eulogy at Martin Luther King's funeral. Number one, is that correct? Is that true?
That's correct. When Dr. King's body was processed from Ebenezer onto the campus of Morehouse College, and at the very centerpiece, there's a wonderful picture that I got from the civil rights photographer Flip Shelke's estate of Mays standing before this crowd on the campus of Morehouse College. And recently, there's a Mays Museum that's opened up in Greenwood, South Carolina, not Greenwood, Mississippi, but Greenwood, South Carolina. And one of the curators gave me a bootleg copy of a tape of that, and it was delivered with, Mays himself was such an orator, and yes, he did do that.
And that was my second question, was how was the eulogy received, and why was he selected? Do you know how?
Oh, he was the night of Dr. King's assassination. Mrs. King, Coretta Scott King, called Dr. Mays and said that it had been Martin's wish that you would perform his eulogy, in which Mays responded, sadly, I had always hoped he would perform mine, because Mays was older than, and he was broaching, he was in the 70s in that moment. Yeah.
Other questions? Yes, sir.
This is also for Dr. Jelks. I think, if I'm correct, your first book was about African-American workers?
No, my first book is about African-Americans who lived in the city that once was the furniture capital of the United States, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I'm just curious how you switched from that topic, how you decided to then write about
Oh, that's a very interesting question. The second president of Morehouse College was a man by the name of Samuel Graves. He happened to be from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I said, well, in the good Lord's providence, this is providential. I should write this book on Mays now. No, I had done both. I was doing research of 2 books at once. So I would be at the Library of Congress, and then I would run over to Howard, and then I had to say this, and I see Karen here. When I was naive to this project, this wonderful woman who works at Clark Atlanta U in the Woodruff Library was at Howard University, and she says, well, here's some resources for you. And then she left me, like on a date, and came to Atlanta. But no, it really was the kind of going back and forth and tying these narratives together, the narratives of these civil rights stories, multiple stories. I'm writing about a northern industrial town, a small black community, but having different kinds of struggles, but nevertheless struggles. And so linking those stories together is what I think about. I don't think about, I write about one section or another. I think it's the ways that these things cross, because people do cross. In the largest black population of Grand Rapids today, they all are formerly Mississippian and Tennesseans. So they are connected in many different ways.
That's a segue into a question I would ask. What's next on the horizon? What should we be looking for from both of you? Because both of these books are absolutely wonderful, and I highly recommend that anybody who's sitting in this room, please lay your hands on them.
Well, can you come just walk around with me and, and just tell people that? Well, my next project that I've been trying to write grants about is a little different. I want to do a little more contemporary project because I'm interested in the intersection of religion and social movements. And so my next project, at least in theory, is I want to be, I'm free to be what I want, Muhammad Ali, faith, politics, and creative struggle. And the story is not about Ali. He's at the center, to you all know, book presses and press people. You got to have a narrative center. But it's really about Ali as a religious conscientious objector. And then I'm trying to weave in the story of Ethel Waters, who opened up for Billy Graham, and Eldridge Cleaver, and Mary Lou Williams, the jazz pianist, and the way religion worked for them as a lived and function in their lives and in their public performance. So that's where I'm trying to go now. And if I can escape students and administrative responsibility, I'll get it done.
Yes, I wanted to say that to piggyback on to both recipients, that much archival work that was done in the South, it was sent to places in the North so it wouldn't be destroyed down here. That's what it's called.
Well, I wanted to say a bit about when I first started on the Maze Project. It wasn't really, I don't consider Washington, D.C. the North. I mean, now that's me. I just say it's below the Mason-Dixon line as far as I'm concerned. But Dr. Maze's papers were sent to Howard at the time. And I remember calling Morehouse saying, I'm working on Dr. Maze, and I got really sharp answer. Well, Dr. Maze's paper is not here. He sent them to Howard. Okay, in the HBCU world, that's a rivalry. I tell my friends they play the Bougie Bowl. That's what I call that football game. Who's the best dressed? But the papers were sent to Howard because at that time, Moreland Spin Garden is still one of the outstanding collections in the United States. So those resources are all around. And we need, I would say, for all of us who do this kind of work, we need to support those archives because they desperately need resources, funding. That's the places that keep our history. So I hope you all will fund those. Send a check, you know, 25, 30. Y'all can send Obama $5. Y'all can send these archives. The same thing.